Oh,
And I'm Karamel. Hey,
hey, best friend. How are you?
you know what? Bottom line up front, I'm cool. That's what I want to talk about today. Like, I'm feeling really frisky on a Friday. So I really want to have this conversation with you.
Okay, Frisky. I hear you,
Well,
Frisky.
here's the thing, Michelle. I am recognizing that after being in business after 5 years, blood, sweat, tears, bluff is where it's at for me. Bottom line up front. Don't waste my time with a bunch of frill, deal, information, books in your emails. If it can't be said in a couple of two lines, you probably don't need to be talking to me. Is that
Well,
terrible?
I always I talk to people, and I'm part of a lot of nonprofit organizations, and so
Mhm,
they're always talking about how to fundraise. And I said, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I need to know how much you're asking me for up front.
mhm.
Then you can go into your presentation. Because if you're asking me for 25,000, we can stop now. Because I don't care how good your presentation is. I don't have 25,000, so therefore there's no need of us
No sense in
talking.
having a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm finding it used to be when I was new, it didn't feel like I needed to continue to, or I felt like I needed more information, more information, more information. But now that I'm in business and doing it, there's really not much that needs to be said that would require that much extra. Now, if it's a new subject, that's one thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Well, for
I
me for me, when I know exactly what you mean, because for me, I know how I make decisions. I know what my decision
Mhm.
process is. So when you tell me what I'm looking for, check, 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 I can make a decision and it doesn't take me long. And so I think when you are the CEO, you're the boss, you're the inventor, the founder, or whatever, you know what you're looking for and you're not waffling. I find I don't feel like a lot of entrepreneurs or people who have to get it out the mud on their own are wafflers, meaning that they
Mm.
go back and forth. Should I not? Because if you were like that, you wouldn't have started the business.
Now, I'll say this. So for someone who started from there was zero information. I was just talking to a young lady. I'm looking to do some more hiring because we're moving into a different level again, right? So there are certain levels where the differences in how you run your business are it's just required. And at this stage, the cash flow that we're getting every month, that what's happening that has put us in a different echelon where we need to have a team of probably 4 or 5 in order to make this, continue to steer the ship. And I was telling her, look, I can tell you off the rip what you need to be doing at any given time of your day when you work for me, when you're working with me. Meaning, if it's taking you more than an hour to get the information, you've spent too much time. You need to go ahead and come to me so I can tell you where to go next. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's really that knowing what you do, and like people will come to you. I'm the easy button. You come to
Yes.
me, and once I tell you what to do, I now take ownership of it that I told you to do it that way. So if it doesn't work, I'm responsible, as opposed to if you spend time forever ever trying to get it done and it doesn't work, and then so why do you come to me? But if you come to me and I tell you, and we're
That's
usually gonna
it.
move on. Yeah.
And you should be moving on. I think that I find that uh, I'm also my leadership style says that I leave the people who work with us to full autonomy in a lot of the things because again, remember, I don't have a handbook. It didn't exist, so everything that we're creating is something that is new, found for us, and so I tell everyone, I typically don't give you any pushback when you created a thing that I've asked you for because it didn't exist before that. So whatever you got is better than what it was, which was
Exactly.
nothing.
We didn't have that before, so now we have it. So I appreciate you doing exactly. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm the project that I'm looking to hire somebody on for. We actually need an operations manual. We haven't needed one of those, but I recognize that there are some gaps in how we're doing a lot of our processes because I do it one way. I've given them an SOP from how I was doing it, and they have now perfected it. They've put it together and they do it a little bit differently, which I'm okay with, but we need to document how that works because again, I
because
think
if you leave, I need to know how to, because I tell people all the time, I was talking to a young man about this the other day, and he was talking
Mhm,
about how this company in town, all the top producers keep leaving. And
mhm.
so each time somebody they win rookie of the year, and then they go on to the next thing and they leave. And so he was like, "Well, and so what is she? She just needs to leave the business because all her good people are leaving." I said, "No, if 3 years in a row she's produced the rookie of the year, then I feel like she's a good coach, and all she needs is the dough, and she can make a cookie." I'm like, but that lets me know that's an employee mentality. No disrespect to that person, but that's an employee's mentality. Because to me, as a boss, if you can bring in she's a Nick Saban. She bringing in a new team every year with new
Every
coaches
year.
around it and still winning championships. That's how it's done. People don't realize if I'm the brains, I'm the one that's got the system in place and I can get anybody and plug you in and we still have the same level of success. It's not you, it's me. And when you leave, you're going to find out.
Very quickly, girl, you said a mouthful. I do remember in the very beginning and starting this that remember I had a partner, and I remember thinking that the world was going to end and it was ending when
Mhm.
that partner left. And then I went ahead and started putting together some processes. And it didn't matter that she left. What happened was I was able to push through because I was able to make those adjustments, getting people in there to help do that work that she was doing. And next thing you know, I'm good to go. But again, that is fortitude, right?
Well,
Um,
you realize that you had a larger role to play. Like you're not just a bystander. When you are the founder of a business
mhm,
or you
mhm,
are the engine, a lot of times you are what makes the business go. Now you want to get to a point where you're not needed 100%,
mhm.
but let's not get it mistaken that if you are the baker and you've taught other people how to bake, you probably are the better baker of all the people, you know what I mean? You probably can do it quicker. You know what I mean? It's like, and you may not be the best, but you know the process. There's something that you have that other people don't have. It's the reason why you started the business.
And also, you're the person who you're the person who actually the buck stops with you, right? So when
Sure.
I ask for somebody for that bottom line up front, really what I'm saying is I'm deciding in my head whether or not it's something that I want to be involved with or not. I'm deciding whether or not this is important at this moment or it needs to be on the back burner. And I have now, with the bottom line up front mentality, have been able to say, nope. That's not going to work. Nope. Don't need to do that. Nope. This is not going to work. Stop right here. We got to
Or
work
like
with
people
this.
contacting you. When people contact you and they want to get something from you or they're asking you, you know, I used to didn't want to say that I was busy. I didn't want to say I was busy. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do that. I just was like,
What's
mm.
so funny that you're saying that because I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone yesterday, as a matter of fact, and she was like I said, we were about to get off. You know how when you say it when you're about to get off the phone, like, oh yeah, so call me anytime. I'm always available. And she was like, you always available, and people make time for when they want to make time for, right?
And that is very true. That is so true. And I hate to say that because I don't want to say you're not important. You know what I mean? If I don't have time for it. And so but then sometimes I don't because I know I want to be able to spend a lot of time with you. And so it's like, oh, I don't have the kind of time. Like you and I may not have time to do a show, but I always got time to talk to you.
100%. And
Like,
but we did make that time because it's important. We talk about how that's important. It's a symbiotic relationship. However, when someone calls me out of the blue, a lot of times it'll be I know it's going to be a quick phone call. I can just catch up with you right quick and then move on. But then there are times where I'm like, I'm going to have to holler back at you later because I know that this is going to be a lot more time that I want. And I probably don't need to eat your garbage right now.
well, I know I have one friend that calls, and I know when she calls, we haven't talked in forever. But if I talk to her, it's going to be a 2 hour phone call.
Sure.
It's just a 2 hour call, and sometimes I can't talk to her because it's going to be a 2 hour call. But then my dad will
I'll be getting
call.
jealous because I only get like 2 or 3 minutes here and there, and I get maybe 5, 10 minutes there, and then.
Okay, but also we talk all day long. So so hence you call or I call, we talk 10, 15 times a day. That adds up. Plus I take your call all the time. Like
Mhm,
I'll pick
mhm.
up, hey, I'm gonna call you right back. Da, da, da. But anyway, but bottom line up front, people are calling me for quotes, meaning that they want to sell me leads and things of that
Mhm.
nature. And I'll say, hey, call me back third quarter. Well, it may be first quarter now. But I say, put it on your calendar, call me back third quarter. They call me back third quarter. Usually I go ahead and buy something because I knew you were a lead company I wanted to deal with, but I didn't have time to talk to you today in the first quarter. I knew I didn't have the money, nor do I have the time. But if you follow up like you're supposed to,
What's so funny about that is, and what I look for information all the time. I'm always looking for information, always researching, always finding out what's next. You know this about me,
oh
big
yeah,
time researcher.
cutting cutting edge.
So remember, I can say this unequivocally when because now we're setting up the family trust. We need a trust now. We've got a few things that are going on. There's a lot happening. We own a few things. Some assets have built up. We got to figure this thing out because if I check out, I don't know if anybody's gonna know exactly what it's supposed to be. So
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, I remember taking meetings with these financial planners saying, hey, I need to figure out what this is going to look like. We took some meetings with them after meeting. I think I took 4 meetings. And finally, one of them gave me an attorney's information back in, gosh, it's been a year ago. And finally, shucks, 6 months or so, I finally was said, okay, we just bought this property. We just put a mortgage on it. It's time for us to go ahead and do the thing. He had already given me the quote. He had already sent me the email with all he was going to do. He had sent me the engagement letter. I wasn't ready. Well, guess what? Now I am. Gratefully, like, I didn't believe you was going to call me back. Well, I had your information. The idea was for me to do it. But now, bottom line up front, I wasn't ready then. I'm ready now.
But I will say this: a lot of people don't operate like that. A lot of people will waste people's time. They won't be honest and won't be upfront.
Mhm.
And so that's what I think the difference is that people say, oh, you're so direct. Are you so no nonsense? I am, because I have realized, and at first I fought it. You remember when I used to fight it about being busy? I would be like,
Oh
oh, I'm
my
not really,
gosh. Wouldn't
I,
put a calendar on the phone. Wouldn't bring it's on my desk at my job. I see it right here. It's better. Hmm.
I still love my desk calendar. I really do. But now I have to put it on my phone because when I wake up in the morning, I need to look at it and see what all I have to do for the day because I
Yeah.
may forget something. And it really makes a difference. And it's just like, oh my goodness. And so I don't have a lot of when you get little bit of my time, it's valuable now.
Sure.
And that's a daunting thing to realize that your time has become valuable and that to get 30 minutes of your time is something,
I'm gonna
you
be
know?
honest with you. I think our time was always valuable, but I think what you're explaining and what you're talking about is key to. There are levels to this, and no one likes to talk about those levels because they always feel like we've talked about this before. Arrogance and a sense of right. You oh holier than thou. You're so much busier than I am, and it's not that. It's that I have a lot on my plate, and if I don't watch it, things can fall down and it would be detrimental to my family. And before I let that happen, I'm not going to let you waste that time.
And it's not even about being detrimental just to your family. It can be detrimental to you. So I'll give you an example. I'm traveling in the next week or so, and I'll be traveling. But when I hit back to town, I'm going to have meetings. So I was trying to space them out, but
Mhm.
I'm going to have them as soon as I touch back down. The next day, I'm going to be in meetings, and so I'm going to be away from the business for a week, and then have meetings outside of the office when I do get back, and then I got to do something that night, and then the weekend is going to be a lot. So in my mind, I'm already knowing health wise, okay, you're going to have
Mhm.
to really take some precaution. You're going to have to rest. So while I'm out of town, I'm not going to be able to fully engage with everybody after we finish the
Mhm.
conference
Mhm.
because I know when I get back, I'm going to be running, and that much running on me right at this age.
But here's the thing, what you've recognized is you understand that toll it's gonna take on your body and you're making preparation for it.
Right.
That's
I have
another
to make
thing that people don't do, right? Bottom line up front says, "Okay, this is what I see this." It's like you have a crystal ball, like, I'm looking into the future, it can see what this will look like, and before I let it get bad on me, let me go ahead and do it right now. Bottom line up front, I'm not gonna be able to go to that little after hours thing. I'm gonna be in this little meeting, I'm gonna talk to y'all, and then I'm gonna go back to that hotel and
and then
rest.
that lets me know how I have to eat. That lets me know that I can't be drinking coffee. I can't be any of the things that I normally would do. I'm not going to be able to do that stuff because it'll take a but that's having to think in advance and of being busy and understanding. So people are like, "Oh, you're being direct. You're so measured and
Yeah.
calculating." It's not that. It's just I got a lot of stuff to fit in, and I got to do all of it is important to me. And it's that box we're learning. I'm taking this class, and we're learning about important, urgent, urgent and important, not
Mhm.
urgent. That type of thing. And that's what bottom line up front is making a determination if something is important and urgent. You
Mhm.
got to do it, and it's important because some stuff can be urgent but it really is not important.
Georgia.
Important gets you to your goal.
Yep.
Is it getting you to your goal? Urgent doesn't get you to your goal. Urgent is something that just pops up.
You
You
just
got to
have to
deal with it.
happen. Perfect example of that. It is not urgent that I deal with that trust, but it is important that I deal with it
Mhm,
because things are
mhm.
about to happen in the future. I see it. So before I let it get to the future and I'm behind the power curve and now it becomes important. Let me go ahead and take
Comes
this
urgent then.
right.
Mhm.
And now let me take this and take this fire, put it out right now and ease into it. So when it's time to put it into action, it's ready. Those are the kind of determinations that people, like to your point, put them in those boxes so you know exactly where they need to go and how much energy and time and effort use.
And if it's not important and it's not urgent, don't do it. Somebody else needs to be doing it. Take it off your plate.
100%. So when I sent that over to, I know very well I could set up that trust and figure out what and do and research. That is not the best use of my time at this point. So what did I do? Let me give this to this attorney. He know exactly what he's doing. This is his expertise. This is
Pay it
his
away
field.
has become more important now.
Woo, pay it away. Girl, say it again. What is pay it away? Because people don't
Pay it
know.
away is if there's something that you can pay somebody else to do within reason, that's what you should do. That way it frees you to do the things that you are better at and can focus on. Not I can do all it's almost like I can do all things, but I shouldn't do all things.
Correct.
Simple as that. And so if you can pay it away, housekeeping, cooking meals for you, taking care of the kids, washing your car. I have a guy who's been washing my car at my place establishment of work for 15 years.
Right, right.
Same
Because I
person
don't
has
want to
been
go to the car wash. I know there's a guy, he pays $50 for his barber to come to him in his office instead of going to the barbershop because he said it would be 90 minutes driving there, sitting there, coming back. No, you come to me, I give you a little extra money, and now it was done, and I can keep doing my day, right?
exactly because it may only take because like for him to come and wash my car because okay, so the priority for me was having a clean car. That was
Mhm.
the priority for me. Okay, I have a husband and I have a son. Well, I can ask them to do it, and then it could be sort of kind of, hey, they might get to it, but they are busy as well. So
Yep.
they can sort of kind of get to it. Oh, they might get to it. So now I'm frustrated because my car is still dirty. This
Right.
man, this is his job. He comes to my office. He's been charging me the same price for about 15 years. He washes it, he keeps it clean as I want it to be, and good. I'm
Mhm.
good. So he texts me. He says, hey, I don't even have to make the appointment. He texts me, hey, you want to wash this week? Sure. And he said, are you going to be in the office all week? Yes. And boom, if I'm here, he'll show up one day, do it. And
And
it's
do it,
real.
and that's
So that's what I mean. The bottom line up front. So that gets what I need handled. I can still be in the office getting what I need to get done. And he's doing what it is he needs to, his business is to do,
Mhm.
make it convenient for people. So that's what I think about the bottom line up front is being direct, asking for what you need, and
Mhm.
then utilizing your time wisely to do it. And don't let people waste your time. If you have a meeting with someone, you do this well. If you have a meeting with someone and they're not prepared for that meeting, cut it off.
Yeah. I
Take some
don't
time
We're
back.
not gonna spend any extra time. That's a pet peeve of mine. Don't get onto a meeting that we're supposed to be having a conversation. And I just had this conversation yesterday with some people that I'm working with. You know, they needed me to have access to the website. Well, if they had told me before that they needed it, I would have had it done. So now you were forcing me to think of it in the moment in that meeting. Girl, we spent 15 minutes on that when we didn't really have to spend that 15 minutes
Sure,
if you
like
already told me.
send an email before. Hey, these are the
Yes.
things that I'm going to need from you, so you can go ahead and get that
Because
prepared.
typically, I'm a big person. I'm a believer also in being prepared. I just because I'm out in and out, my job is very fluid. I am not attached to a desk. Even right now, I take this microphone that you have, and it goes with me to Tokyo, to Napa Valley, and it comes with me to the library because I had a breakfast this morning. So instead of me trying to get all the way back home to record, hey, I see a library right over across the street. We're gonna come here and do it. Those are the kind of things that you do when you're thinking bottom line up front, when you're thinking priority and important and making things happen and making it shake because you know you need to get it done. I don't believe in people making excuses. It's just not my
No,
thing. And I
no,
believe that people really are not taking a real good look at what they're trying to get after and just making it shake. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
And I
So
think that's important. A friend of mine. He does a lot of meetings, business meetings,
mhm.
and someone told him, he says, "Hey, you don't meet with important people just to be meeting.
Mm.
When they allow you to have some of their time, you need to have an agenda. You
Mhm.
need to have maybe an ask so that they, you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
meeting with you just to meet with you, if you are not the person that they're trying, you know what I mean? It's like just
Mhm.
meeting with somebody to be meeting with them. And so, and I'm like that. But a lot of people don't know when you're learning, you're like, oh, okay. Cause for you now, if you tell me, hey, I would like to just come talk to you for 30 minutes just to pick your brain. I would love for you to, cause, my favorite person, John, Maxwell, he says that offer him he said he offered some top CEOs $100 for that time. At that time, $100 was a lot. And he
Mhm.
offered them $100 for their time for like 10, 15 minutes of their time just to talk
Mhm.
to him so he could ask questions. I said, that's one thing, but just to be meeting with me for coffee and you really ain't got nothing to say to hear me talk about myself. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. There's certain times during the day that I may have a little bit of a window where I'm about to get into some work, and I'm like, all right, who can I have a conversation to kind of get the load off, or I have a thing in my head, get that done. Typically, that may be you, that may be Cheryl, that may be Sharon, whatever, whoever that person is, and then I take that, and then next thing I know, I'm in it. There is no interrupting that. So I'll look at that phone and say, nah, this is not the time. I'm in it, right? Those are the kind of things you have, because procrastination is real. Deflection is real. And those were the things that'll keep you from getting after the goal and the task at hand. And if when people tell me that they're too busy and they haven't made the moves that they said they were going to move from 3-4 years ago, that says to me you really weren't trying to make those moves. And I believe that to my core because I know what moves make. I've seen
When
it.
you talk about it floors me because I'm not big on paying money for something and we're not going to do it. I did that one time and I feel so bad about it. I took some money. I was going to take a
I
course.
remember.
I was going to take this course and I gave them people $3,000 and did not. And I thought to myself, yeah, you throwing money away now.
And
We
what are
we
you?
are we are outside of our mind right now.
I
$3,000
remember that, and
and
I remember you saying that, and it was so funny. I remember it was a blip that you said you were gonna do it, and then you said you had paid for it, and I was like, "Oh, that happened fast." And if I feel like if we had to flesh that out, you probably would have been like, "No, that ain't probably
well,
what."
what happened was it was not like I thought it was going to be.
Mhm, mhm,
And so for me at that time, I needed them to have like a set time that I needed because I thought they were going to give me a set time that I needed to do it.
mhm.
Work at my own pace time. That's not a good thing for me right now because I have so many other things that I have to do, so many like set hard points. If I can't just pin, like I'm in a program now that has a hard point that I have to go to a class on this day. So because I have to go to the class on this day, the online material, I get it done because I'm not going to show up to the class and not have it done.
I'm glad
Whereas,
you said that, Michelle, because what you said is very key. That you know your style and your type, and
yes.
so if you know your type is not doing stuff on your own, then that's not something that you should be signing up for. Where if you're the person who listen, just give me the stuff, I'll go figure it out, and then I'm good. That's a different type of person. So then, by all means, that probably would have worked for somebody else.
And I don't mind is I and that's why I go back to this bottom line up front. I had to be honest with myself is that
Yes.
on my calendar now, I have a lot of hard times and places that I have to be certain times, certain days. And so to flow and have to do something on my own, whereas I thought I had the time, when I really sit down and look at my calendar, I don't just to free flowing. So I have to have stuff that's like set. And so, I had to realize, whereas now, first of the year, I probably have more free flowing time where I can
Mhm,
kind of go. And so I had to really realize that. And I thought, okay, you're doing several things now, several things. And so
mhm,
it's like sometimes stuff overlaps. I said, how does everybody pick the same day to have stuff? Like,
mhm.
why does it fall on this day? This is crazy to me. So,
It just so
yeah.
happens that when you tell me all the time that I'm always living in the next year. I'm always living 12
Child, we
months.
probably 2 years out now. It's gone beyond just the
But
next
really,
year.
I'm the reason why I do that is because I know what I can shape the way that my moves that I'm making today for what's going to be what it's going to look like in a year from now. And so right now I'm telling the future, and my team is like, "What are you talking about? We got to have another person right now to have them trained up for 2024 because if we get to 2024, we will not have any of the stuff in line, and we will be swimming and drowning. And I don't like to
Mhm.
drown. I don't like to feel
Mhm.
like I'm drowning. I don't like to feel like I'm
Mhm.
out of sorts. I like to know that this is what, so that because I know this is about to happen, let's go ahead and cut it off right now. So when it does happen, we kind of just kind of ease on into, okay, we knew this was going to be this way. So who can do what? Who's on first? Who's on second? Those are the type of things that bottom line up front make is important for me, because I know that when I'm buying this next property, the last little property that I want to buy, that's 8 months from now, this has got to get done right now. I don't want it to be that I have it and I got to backtrack. So that's what I mean. It's important for us to know, and for you to know, as you're moving through every stage of building a business, that there will be times where bottom line up front will be effective, right? Not letting people waste your time, organizing, putting forth the effort to make sure that you've got all the things in place that you can see and plan. Do the 12-week year. We talked about this
Oh yeah,
before.
you have to, Brian Moran, you have to do that, because what happens is the more organized you are, more focused, the more you plan. And this is the time you plan for 2024. You
Yep.
planning for 2024 in 2024 is, it's kind of late. You know what I
No
mean?
bueno. Yeah.
It's
Not
it's
kind of, it is late. Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like it's important that you realize that, and you have to take the time to get yourself together, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Right now is the time you say, "Oh, well, it's September." Yeah, but this is the time. This is the time that you
At
put your
this
plan
very
together.
moment, if when you're having those conversations, like my team is like, I have a consultant team. So I've already sent them, hey, this is what it looks like for 2024. This is what you're trying to get after. Give me your key thoughts, give me your comments, put it in the document that's shared with them. I haven't gone back to look at it, but here, I know that that's a priority next week, because I'm trying to plan on for them to be at the end of the month, that we're going to actually come together and talk about what they thought about that plan, what they think the priority should be, why they think it should be this way or that way, or what order. All of that matters. And now my team means so much more to me than it did in the beginning, because girl, it's a dog eat dog world out there. People are scrounging for every dollar that they're getting, and I need to have a little piece for us. And I'm gonna, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because this
Like,
is not a nonprofit. I'm not.
I'm not doing this for fun, right? And-
I have fun, but I'm not a nonprofit. I am here I am a for-profit business. And
right.
people think that's a dirty word sometimes.
It's
And so
not.
that's the bottom line up front, knowing that this is, I have to make money, and that the people that work with me, they need to make money. They got to support their family. This is
Yeah.
not just about me, it's about all of us. And so this is what it takes. Best friend, I've enjoyed talking to you. This has
It's
been
always a
ow.
pleasure.